Where if you focus on math, what you're good at, say you're 7 out of 10, and you focus, 2 or 5 years on that, getting better. Now you went up 2. Now you're 9 out of 10. Well, now you're great at that.
Right.
So always focus on your strengths. Never worry about your weaknesses. You're weak at that. Find other people who are good at your weak areas and team up with them. Create a mastermind alliance.
So that almost, I don't know if you follow this guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, but he's like an entrepreneur from New York, and that's what he always says is triple down on your strengths and ignore your weaknesses. So like whatever you're good at, yeah, that's where you're going to go into business for. And so for you, it seems like hospitality. I mean, so you could have really went several different avenues with that, but you've decided to do painting, which obviously you enjoy it, which is a big thing. And another thing that I heard from somebody, this mathematician that I know that we're hoping to have come on here, he was saying that 99% of people have just as much ability to be good at math or reading or whatever from the time you're a kid, and so that there really aren't that many natural geniuses out there, in one area or another. So if you really want to accomplish something, whether you're the greatest at it or not, if you start at an early age, like you condition your brain to be good at something, then you can really accomplish anything you want, whether or not you thought you were good at it or you have experience in it or not.
Yeah, telling yourself, believing that, from a young age, if you believe that, anything is possible.
Right.
My friends right now, with everything that's happening on, some of my friends are African American, and there's a lot of race, stuff going on and stuff like that. And I've been trying to educate myself and watch, some things. And one of the things I came across yesterday was this 3rd grade class, right? And they're all white, and they're all really nice kids, like, no problems whatsoever. And then the teacher one day says, everybody with blue eyes, they're smarter than everybody else, and they're well more behaved. And you say, oh, hey, look, that kid over there with brown eyes, see, he forgot his backpack. Those kids with brown eyes are stupid. So now, at recess that day, they were picking on the kids with brown eyes. They were saying, oh, you're dumb because you have brown eyes. And the people with brown eyes, they did this, study with cards and stuff like that. And it took them like 3 times or 4 times as longer to do the same project that the other kids were doing. But then the next day, the teacher comes back and says, no, I lied to you yesterday. Guess what? The kids with the brown eyes, yeah, they are actually smarter and they're better looking. Hey, look at them, And then the kids that, now have brown eyes and now are smart, they do the project that they did in like way faster the time.
Right.
So it's just so crazy that, what you tell yourself or who's telling yourself and what you believe can change, everything that happens in your life. And so for me, it's sad because my friends are African American and they're, oppressed. They've been oppressed. They're still oppressed, and it's hard for me because I'm white that I don't see that. And so just learning these things is just, mind-boggling and, sad. And it's just so important that what you tell yourself that's what my mom taught me. She said, never call yourself stupid. Never call yourself any bad things, because you're telling yourself that you believe that, So since I was a kid, I always said I was going to be successful. That's what I've always said. So that's what I'm not successful, but, I'm happy. And so that to me is success.
Well, I think like going back to the blue eye, brown eye type thing or racism or whatever, I think a lot of it is, that stuff is learned. Like you don't learn that somebody with blue eyes is smarter than the rest of the people. Or if you don't learn,
I already know that.
You don't learn somebody with brown eyes. But as a kid, like you're so impressionable. So like if a teacher were to tell somebody like that could have a major impact on their life.
Yeah.
So you're right. It goes back to what you're taught and like what you tell yourself. And that's something that I struggle with is like, when I make a mistake at work or at home or whatever, like you'll beat up on yourself. You tell yourself, God, I suck, or I'm not smart, or why couldn't I do better? Why can't I be a better person? And like harping on yourself like that, you start to feel that negativity like build up in you. When it's like, I think that's the biggest thing that's hit me that we're talking about is like attitude really is everything, and your perception of things and what you're told and what you tell yourself. That's almost everything.
Absolutely. And so it's kind of, not ignorance is bliss, but, living in your own bubble those type of things, that's what people say to me. I'm living in my own world. I always say this is Nick's world. This is my life. You guys are just in it, and I allow that to happen because you do.
Right.
You choose where you're gonna go that today. You choose how you're gonna dress. You choose how everything. You choose. Your whole life is your power. And so, any young person out there, just believing that anything is possible. Why not you? Like, that's the thing I always told myself. I live in Kirkland, and so I look around and everybody has a house. Why not me? What is everybody doing that allows them to have a house? What's different than them than me? Nothing. So I try to seek those people out. What do you do?
Right.
Can I be your assistant?
What's your secret to getting a house?
Yeah.
So today I brought in a beer. It's my favorite beer. It is Sierra Nevada Torpedo, which if any of you are familiar with popular IPAs, Torpedo is one of the most popular in my opinion. But this one is Sierra Nevada Tropical Torpedo. So it's Torpedo with a little bit of tropical flavor. Now it says it has passion fruit in it, but Moto says it's got a little bit of a grapefruit flavor to it.
So what I was thinking, it kind of has the apricot Belgian wheat from Blue Moon. It kind of has that taste to it on top of an IPA.
Yeah, it's so.
Well, you know how sometimes the flavors that they put in don't quite translate right.
Right.
That's what it tastes like to me.
Right on. So yeah, I mean, this is my favorite beer right now of all time. I can only find it at one gas station by my house. I haven't found it in any QFCs or Safeways or Hagen's. It's nowhere. So if you ever get a chance, try it out. Sierra Nevada Tropical Torpedo IPA. And that's what I'll be drinking tonight. Join me. All right, Nick. So I did have a question for you. Have you ever had any trouble like finding a job, doing anything else, or trying to even get a painting job besides running your own business? Is there any trouble you've ran into because of your history, or?
Yeah. Well, as far as finding like a labor industry, I've never had any opportunity or any hardship finding a job as far as like labor is concerned. Most labor, if you have a high school diploma, you're good to go. You can work for any labor union, any of that stuff with a valid driver's license and a high school diploma, and you're good. As far as the opportunities that I've had, as far as working for bigger companies or corporations, doing different type of jobs, I have had hardships with that. Even though I'm a college graduate, have a degree, have experience, been offered a lot of jobs, but with my criminal background, those jobs offers have been rescinded. And so as far as like my criminal background, I have a DUI that I did a deferred prosecution for, which basically you're on probation for 5 years, and if you complete this process, basically gets stricken from your record. I got this with my last year in college, and so I was either facing to go to jail and not graduate or enter into this plea bargain deal and then give me the opportunity to have it stricken from my record. I didn't know, however, that in this 5 years I wasn't going to be able to get a job. I graduated from college. I completed the requirements of the deferred, so I have no probation. I have no requirements other than just the time to go by. And so I thought that, now that I completed some of the requirements, worked, graduated, I thought it was, it's been some time. It's been 4 years. I thought I would go and, apply to some jobs and see if I can land a career. And so I found a job that I was excited about. I always do. And so right after college, I applied for some jobs to find a career, but the same thing happened to me. I went through like 7 different interviews. I even cried in the last one to, really seal the deal. They offered it to me. I was super excited. I, accepted it. Then they did the background and they saw that there was an open case. When you do a deferred prosecution, it's open for 5 years until you complete that process. So with their requirements, you can't have any type of open court case open, or you just can't work for them. So I was sad, then I went back to, painting, did that for a while. And so it's been 4 years, and I just recently applied to, sought out a recruiter. Someone gave me a job, because the hard part for me for painting that it was just summer. What do I do during the winter time? And so I've always done odd different kind of things. This last year I did Christmas lights. Who knew that was a job? But look into that. There's a lot of money doing that. But yeah, I found an opportunity through a recruiter to work for Polygon, this construction company. And it was a warranty position that when someone buys a new home, you walk through the new home with somebody that, ensures that it's built correctly. And so I was like, awesome, what a cool position. It's paid salary. There's a bonus for driving, gas card, they'll buy you a car, all types of cool stuff. Went through all the interviews, same thing, found out that it was a perfect fit for myself because through painting, I've gotten a really good eye for attention to detail, and I can really, point out things to the customer, what I like, and found out that there's even somebody on the construction side whose job it is to make sure that the house is built perfectly. So I just have to, make sure that the construction people, build it correctly, and then it's good, and I get a bonus if the house goes smoothly with the customer. And then I found out that there's even somebody on their side that does the same thing that I do, so I just got to get with that person and be on the same page. Want to bring bottles of champagne, pop bottles with them, make sure they do a good, fun job, And so I was excited about that, and they're building $1 million homes. It's a, amazing company and something that I'm going to look into, once this 5 years has been up, which is 2018. I might consider working for them. They were going to pay me $42,000 salary, which isn't, a lot of money and whatnot, but it was also a bonus for every house that was built properly and smoothly. I'd get $250 for every house, and there was like 150 houses in each community, and I'd be in charge of a couple communities. So it was a good bonus structure, and plus with the, car allowance and gas card and, insurances and things like that, I was really happy. The Monday through Friday, typical job. That's another thing with owning your own business. Typically, there's no 8 to 5. The best thing about it is that you can create your own 8 to 5. You can create your own life. You can do all those wonderful things. However, there's so much to do as far as, pleasing the customer, getting the jobs done, that it's typically, a 10 to 12 hour day every single day. People call you on Sunday and, you're going to go to that customer's house and give them an estimate because you want the job. You're not going to just say, hey, I'm busy. They might go with somebody else. So you try to take advantage of every opportunity. But I was very excited for the Monday through Friday salary. I can plan dates. I can plan my life. I'm going to make this much money. Everything's great. So same thing, I do all the interviews. They give me the offer. I'm super excited. They're super excited. And then come back, my background comes back as a, DUI deferred. And so they said that, because of that, they can't give me the job. And so at that point, I just was super sad, went depressed and started thinking like, I don't have a job. I have a creepy van that creeps people out. And all these things, I was thinking, I was just depressed. And so it wasn't until my aunt was like, I know you're depressed. She asked me that question that I said earlier, what are some things that you're happy about? Like, what are some good things? And I've always been a, pretty happy person my whole life. I like to tell people about the negatives because I like to laugh at them. I think, bad things happen, but, just laugh. It's life. There's a lot more good things that happen than bad, or it's at least 50-50. And so I went into painting again, and I started working for, I met somebody right before I was interviewing because some people had told people that I was in an interview, and he reached out to me. I have wonderful friends, and the friend hooked me up with somebody that has been painting for 40 years. And so his job in the company is he's been doing it so long that he has so many referrals that he just gives jobs and then gives them to other business owners. So he just gives them to other subcontractors. And he told me that if I was licensed, bonded, and insured, that he would give me jobs to do. And so I was excited. I went and started working for him and was working doing that. And then ran into a customer through a referral through my mom that lived in a home association, and I've been in this home association working ever since. And so that's what it's about. You find communities that we're all built at the same time, that all need the same type of services. And so stuff that I look for as far as being a business owner and being painting, I want to do other stuff. I want to do it all. I want to become a company. Like when you work for someone, you want to give them the feeling that they don't want you to leave. They like you so much that they want to keep you around. And so with painting, it's always been hard because I paint for someone and it lasts so long that they don't need my services anymore. So I've always been jealous of, say, landscaping, where you put in a new lawn for somebody. Well, now this lawn needs maintenance. It needs seeding, it needs mowing. mowing, it needs watering. And so you can have repeat business, and then once you get a customer, you have a customer for life. And so I've always been kind of jealous of that, but it's part of my greater plan is to, create a company that, offers, kind of gives that out: landscaping, window washing, gutter cleaning. If anybody out there listening and wants to, team up and do some other type of work, I'm a painter, but if you want to paint or, do something else like that, I'd love to refer you to my customers and help grow them. But there's just